There's a number sitting inside your body right now that could be quietly wrecking your heart, your brain, and your kidneys, and you'd have absolutely no way of knowing it. Every morning in the small town of Franklin, Tennessee, 67-year-old Mike followed the exact same routine. He woke up before sunrise, made a cup of black coffee, walked his golden retriever around the neighborhood, stopped to chat with the same neighbors. And by 8 o'clock, he was already out in the backyard, hard at it. If you asked anyone who knew Mike, they'd all say the same thing. He's one of the healthiest guys around. He wasn't overweight. He didn't smoke. He rarely got sick. He had energy to spare. By every rule you've ever heard about staying healthy, Mike was doing everything right. Then one Saturday, his daughter gave him a home blood pressure monitor for his birthday. Mike laughed it off. "I feel fine," he said. "I don't need that." Just to prove his point, he wrapped the cuff around his arm. A few seconds later, the screen flashed a number that completely changed his day. 174/96. Mike stared at the monitor. There had to be a mistake. He felt perfectly normal. No headache. No dizziness. No chest pain. Nothing. That's the part that should scare you a little. A few days later, his doctor told him something he never saw coming. You've probably had high blood pressure for years. Years. Not weeks. Not months. Years. And Mike never had a clue. That's exactly what makes high blood pressure so dangerous. It can quietly damage your body for years before it causes any obvious symptoms. And by the time many people catch it, the damage is already done. Now, here's the surprising part. Mike isn't some rare case. He's actually part of a much bigger story, and it's a lot bigger than most people want to admit. Millions of men over 60 are walking around every single day with high blood pressure and have no clue. So why is this happening to so many people at once? And why does nobody see it coming? It starts with something most of us never think about. According to health experts, blood pressure tends to creep up as we get older because our blood vessels naturally lose flexibility over time. Think about a brand new garden hose. It's soft. It bends easy. Water flows through it without much fuss. Now imagine leaving that same hose out in the hot sun for 20 years. It gets stiff, less flexible. The water still gets through, but now it takes a lot more pressure. That's basically what's happening inside our arteries as we age. And here's where most folks get it completely wrong. They blame everything on salt. You've probably heard someone say, "Just cut the salty food and your blood pressure will be fine." If only it were that simple. Salt matters. But it's only one piece of a much bigger puzzle, and focusing on salt alone might be the reason your blood pressure never actually improves. In fact, plenty of people cut their salt way back and still struggle with high blood pressure. So what's really going on? The biggest reason is something that starts changing inside your body decades before you ever notice, and by the time you do, it's already been working against you for years. Your arteries slowly lose their ability to stretch. Every heartbeat has to push blood through vessels that are stiffer than they used to be. Imagine trying to blow air into a brand new balloon. Now imagine trying to blow into an old balloon that's been sitting in a drawer for years. Which one takes more effort? Your heart's up against the same fight every single beat for the rest of your life. With every beat, it has to work harder to push blood through arteries that no longer expand the way they once did. Over time, that extra workload can push blood pressure up. But that's only half the story. And this next part is the one almost nobody talks about. There's another silent change happening at the same time, and it's got nothing to do with getting older. It's about how modern life messes with our blood vessels. Inside every healthy artery is a thin layer of cells called the endothelium. Think of it as mission control for your circulation. This tiny layer helps your blood vessels know when to relax and when to tighten. When it's working right, blood flows smooth. When it gets damaged, your arteries stop responding the way they should. They stay tighter than they need to. Blood pressure starts creeping up. The tricky part is, this damage doesn't happen overnight. It builds slow, year after year, meal after meal, habit after habit. Which means it's happening to a lot of you watching this right now, and you won't feel a thing until it's too late. Which brings us to one of the biggest surprises researchers have found. It isn't always the occasional cheeseburger that causes problems. It's the small, daily habits we repeat without even thinking about it, the ones that feel completely harmless. Skipping regular movement, sleeping only 5 or 6 hours, living with constant stress, carrying extra weight around the waist, drinking too much alcohol. Even untreated sleep apnea can quietly push blood pressure higher for years. Individually, each one might seem small. Together, they set the perfect stage for blood pressure to climb, and most people never connect the dots until something goes wrong. Here's a question for you. When was the last time you actually checked your blood pressure? Last month? Last year? Or, honestly, can you not even remember? If you had to think about it for more than a second, that's a problem. That question matters more than most people realize. Because, unlike a broken bone, high blood pressure usually doesn't announce itself. There's often no warning, no pain, no obvious sign. That's why doctors call it the silent killer. Not because it strikes without warning, but because the warning signs are usually invisible, hiding in plain sight while it does damage you can't see or feel. And here's the kicker. Your brain, your kidneys, your eyes, even your heart start feeling the effects long before you notice anything yourself. The good news is a lot of the biggest risk factors can be improved, sometimes with surprisingly simple daily habits. But there's one habit researchers consistently put near the top of the list, and it's probably not what you think. Most people think it's about hitting the gym harder. It's actually something millions of men quietly stop doing as they get older without even realizing it. And once it's gone, it takes your blood vessels down with it. Stick around, because once you get why, the rest of the puzzle starts falling into place. One of the biggest habits that quietly disappears as people get older is simple movement. Not marathon running, not lifting heavy weights, just regular, everyday movement. Think about how life changes after retirement. You spend more time sitting. You drive instead of walking. You watch TV for a few extra hours. Before you know it, you've gone from 10,000 steps a day to barely 3,000, and you didn't even notice it happening. Doesn't feel like a huge change. But your body notices. Your heart notices. And your blood vessels definitely notice. Researchers have consistently found that regular physical activity helps blood vessels stay more flexible. Exercise also helps your body use insulin more efficiently, supports a healthy weight, and can lower stress hormones that keep blood pressure elevated. Here's the good part. You don't have to become a gym rat. Even a brisk 30-minute walk most days of the week has been shown to make a real difference for a lot of people. That's encouraging because pretty much anyone can start there. But movement's only one piece of the puzzle. There's another habit that quietly pushes blood pressure higher, and a ton of people don't even realize they're doing it every single night. Let's talk about sleep. If you're regularly running on only 5 or 6 hours a night, your body never gets the time it needs to fully bounce back. While you sleep, Your heart and blood vessels are supposed to catch a break. Blood pressure naturally drops during healthy sleep. Doctors sometimes call this nighttime dipping. But when sleep is poor or interrupted, that healthy drop may not happen, and your cardiovascular system pays the price without you ever knowing. Night after night, month after month, year after year, your cardiovascular system's stuck working overtime. Here's something a lot of people don't connect to blood pressure. Snoring. Loud snoring, waking up gasping for air, or feeling wiped out after a full night's sleep can sometimes be signs of sleep apnea. Sleep apnea causes repeated pauses in breathing throughout the night. Each pause forces your body into a stress response. Your heart rate jumps. Your blood pressure rises. This cycle can repeat dozens, even hundreds of times a night, every single night, while you're sound asleep and completely unaware. Treating sleep apnea has helped many people improve blood pressure control alongside their other treatments. Now, here's another myth that needs to go. A lot of people believe stress is just in your head. Your body begs to differ. Whenever you're under constant stress, your brain pumps out hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Those hormones are great if you're literally running from danger. The problem is modern stress rarely wraps up in a few minutes. Bills, family responsibilities, financial worries, health concerns. They can keep your body on high alert around the clock, day after day, with no real off switch. Imagine driving your car with one foot lightly resting on the gas pedal all day long. Eventually, something's going to wear out. Your cardiovascular system works the same way. This doesn't mean stress alone causes high blood pressure. But chronic stress can make healthy habits a lot harder to stick to, and it may push readings higher for some people. Now let's circle back to food. Most conversations about blood pressure start and end with salt. And honestly, that's exactly why so many people never fix the actual problem. But researchers have learned the overall eating pattern matters a whole lot more than any single food. People who regularly eat vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, nuts, fish, and healthy fats tend to have better cardiovascular health than people whose diets are loaded with highly processed foods. That's one reason the DASH eating plan has been recommended for years. Instead of chasing one miracle food, it focuses on building an overall pattern that supports healthy blood pressure. And here's something interesting. A lot of packaged foods pack way more sodium than people realize, way more than the salt shaker sitting on your table. Bread, canned soups, frozen meals, deli meats, restaurant meals. Even foods that don't taste all that salty can carry a heavy sodium load. That's why cooking more at home often helps without feeling like some strict diet. But here's another curveball. Potassium matters just as much. Most people get too much sodium and not enough potassium. Potassium helps your body keep a healthy fluid balance and supports normal muscle and nerve function, including the muscles inside your blood vessel walls. Foods like bananas, potatoes, beans, spinach, yogurt, avocados, and oranges are solid natural sources for a lot of people. Of course, if you've got kidney disease or another medical condition, potassium recommendations may look different, so follow your healthcare professional's advice on that. Now here's a question. Have you ever said, "I feel fine, so my blood pressure must be fine"? You're definitely not the only one. And that mindset is exactly why so many cases slip under the radar completely undetected. High blood pressure usually doesn't cause symptoms until it gets severe or complications show up. Feeling normal doesn't always mean everything's normal. That's why checking your numbers matters so much. Home blood pressure monitors have gotten affordable, easy to use, and surprisingly accurate when used right. In fact, a lot of doctors encourage patients to check at home, since readings taken in a relaxed setting can paint a fuller picture than one single clinic reading. Here's another mistake people make all the time. They check their blood pressure once, see one normal reading, and figure everything's perfect. Big mistake. Blood pressure naturally shifts throughout the day. Exercise, stress, caffeine, pain. Even chatting during the measurement can throw off the result. That's why healthcare professionals usually look for patterns over time instead of leaning on one single reading. There's one more factor worth mentioning: body weight. As we get older, it's common to pack on extra weight around the waist. That extra weight makes the heart work harder and is tied to a higher risk of developing high blood pressure. The encouraging news is that even modest weight loss can move the needle for a lot of people. You don't need to drop 50 pounds. Sometimes losing just 5 to 10% of your body weight can bring real health benefits. Now you can probably see the bigger picture. High blood pressure rarely has one single cause. It's usually a bunch of small factors stacking up over the years quietly in the background, while you go about your life feeling completely fine. The good news is those small factors can often be improved one step at a time. And in the next part, we're going to get into the practical strategies that make the biggest difference, why medication is sometimes the right call, and one simple daily habit that can help you stay on top of your numbers before they turn into a much bigger problem, one you can't undo. Now comes the question everyone wants answered. If high blood pressure builds up over many years, can you actually do something about it? The answer is yes. And the good news is, you don't have to flip your whole life upside down overnight. In fact, trying to change everything at once is one of the biggest reasons people throw in the towel. Small, steady changes usually beat big changes that only last a week. Think of it like steering a big ship. A tiny turn of the wheel might not seem like much today. But after miles of travel, that small adjustment completely changes where you end up. Your health works the same way. Let's start with one of the simplest habits. Walk more. Not because walking's some magic bullet, but because regular movement helps your heart run more efficiently. Over time, your heart doesn't have to work as hard to pump blood through your body. That's good news for your blood vessels. If 30 minutes at once feels like too much, break it up. 10 minutes after breakfast. 10 minutes after lunch. 10 minutes after dinner. Those little walks add up. Now let's talk about something people often sleep on, literally and figuratively. Hydration. As we age, our sense of thirst gets weaker. A lot of older adults just don't drink enough water during the day. Drinking extra water isn't a treatment for high blood pressure, but staying properly hydrated supports normal body functions and can help you feel your best. Now, here's something that surprises a lot of people. Coffee isn't automatically the bad guy it's made out to be. For some folks, caffeine causes a temporary bump in blood pressure. For others, the effect's much smaller. That's one reason healthcare professionals recommend paying attention to how your own body responds, instead of assuming everybody reacts the same. Here's another practical tip. If you smoke, quitting is one of the best moves you can make for your blood vessels. Every cigarette temporarily tightens blood vessels and damages the lining of the arteries. The good news is your body starts repairing itself surprisingly fast once you stop. Now let's get into something a lot of people don't love talking about: medication. And this next part might change how you think about it completely. Some people feel like taking blood pressure meds means they failed somehow. That's just not true. For a lot of adults, healthy eating, regular exercise, weight management, and cutting back sodium can lower blood pressure significantly. But for others, especially folks with very high readings or extra medical conditions, lifestyle changes alone might not cut it. Blood pressure medication isn't a sign of weakness. It's one of many tools that can help lower the risk of serious complications like heart attack, stroke, heart failure, and kidney disease. If your healthcare professional prescribes medication, don't stop taking it without talking to them first. A lot of people feel perfectly fine and assume they don't need it anymore, and that assumption has landed people in the hospital. Remember Mike from the top of the video? He felt completely healthy. His body told a whole different story. That's why the numbers matter more than how you feel. A lot more. Here's another mistake that trips a lot of people up. They only check their blood pressure when they're feeling off. By then, it's often too late to catch it early. Instead, build a routine. Check it around the same time of day. Sit quietly for 5 minutes first. Feet flat on the floor. Arms supported at heart level. Take 2 readings, about a minute apart, and write down the results. Those numbers tell a way more reliable story than one reading grabbed while you're rushing out the door. Now here's an encouraging thought. Your body's got an incredible ability to respond to healthier habits. Blood vessels can work better. Your heart can run more efficiently. Energy levels often go up. And a lot of people find they just feel better overall. Not because of one miracle food. Not because of some special supplement. But because dozens of small, healthy decisions start stacking up together. That's really the biggest takeaway from today's video. There usually isn't one secret cause of high blood pressure. And there usually isn't one magic fix. It's the result of aging, combined with lifestyle, genetics, medical conditions, and everyday habits. The good news is a lot of those habits are within your control. Move your body regularly. Eat more whole foods. Limit highly processed foods. Get enough sleep. Manage stress in healthy ways. Maintain a healthy weight if possible. Monitor your blood pressure regularly. Take medications as prescribed if you need them. And most importantly, don't wait around for symptoms to show up. Because high blood pressure often stays silent until serious damage has already been done. And by then, you're not preventing anything anymore, you're just reacting to it. One simple measurement today could save you a much bigger headache tomorrow. If you're over 60 or someone you love is, go check your blood pressure this week. It only takes a minute. But that 1 minute could hand you information that protects your heart, your brain, your kidneys, and your future. Your health isn't built in a single day. It's built by the choices you make every single day. And sometimes, the smallest habit turns out to be the one that changes everything, or the one that quietly costs you the most. If you want to learn about the everyday foods and habits that naturally support heart health as you get older, subscribe to our channel, and to never miss any update, hit the bell icon.